The Appendix. Notes. Page 58. 1. In this passage, Mohammed compares those who believed not on him to a man who wants to kindle a fire, but as soon as it burns up and the flames give a light, shuts his eyes lest he should see, as if he had said, "You, O Arabians, have so long desired a prophet of your own nation, and now I am sent unto you, and have plainly proved my mission by the excellence of my doctrine and revelation. You resist conviction and refuse to believe in me. Therefore shall God leave you in your ignorance." And of course, one of the points there that's missed is that Muhammad's supposed to be quoting God, so he's not supposed to be composing his own doctrine, is the claim. So consider things in that respect. Page 59, note 1. Here he compares the unbelieving Arabs to people caught in a violent storm. To perceive the beauty of this comparison, it must be observed that the Islamic doctors say this tempest is a type of image of the Quran itself, the thunder signifying the threats therein contained, the lightning, the promises, the darkness, the mysteries. The terror of the threats makes them stop their ears, unwilling to hear truths so disagreeable. When the promises are read to them, they attend with pleasure. But when anything mysterious or difficult of belief occurs, they stand stock still and will not submit to be directed. Note 2. Considering the creation of Adam, here intimated the Muslimin to have several peculiar traditions, and for the most part, we don't find that they invented traditions to explain things. They say that the angels, Gabriel, Michael, and Israfil, were sent by God one after another to fetch for that purpose 7 handfuls of earth from different depths and of different colors, whence some account for the various complexion of mankind, but the earth being apprehensive of the consequence and desiring them to represent her fear to God, that the creatures he designed to form would rebel against him and draw down his curse upon her, they returned without performing God's command, whereupon he sent Azrael on the same errand, who executed his commission without remorse, for which reason God appointed that angel to separate the souls from the bodies, being therefore called the angel of death. The earth he had taken was carried into Arabia, to a place between Mecca and Taif, where, being first kneaded by the angels, it was afterward fashioned by God himself into human form and left to dry for a space of 40 days, or as others say, as many years. The angels, the unfallen angels, in the meantime, often visiting it, and Iblis, then, innocent like the angels, who are nearest into God's presence. Afterward, the devil, because of his decisions of belief and action, right, among the rest. But he, not contented with looking on it, kicked it with his foot till it rung, and knowing God designed that creature to be so superior, took a secret resolution never to acknowledge him as such. After this, God animated the figure of clay and endued it with an intelligent soul, and, one with free will. And when he had placed him in paradise, formed Eve out of his left side. Page 60, note 1. This story, Muhammad borrowed from some of the Jewish traditions, it agrees in some respects with some of them, which say that the angels, having spoke to man with some contempt, when God consulted them about his creation, God made answer that man was wiser than they, and to convince them of it, he brought all kinds of animals to them, and asked them their names, which they, not being able to tell, put the same question to the man, who named them one after another, and being asked his own name and God's name, he answered very justly, and gave God the name of Jehovah. well, so divine names that we can speak or formulas of reference and meaning, right? The angels adoring of Adam is also mentioned in the Talmud. The Muslimin say, note 2, the Muslimin say that when they were cast down from paradise, Adam fell on the isle of Ceylon or Serendib, and Eve near Judah, the port of Mecca, in Arabia, and that after a separation of 200 years, Adam was on his repentance conducted by the angel Gabriel to a mountain near Mecca, where he found and knew his wife, the mountain being thence named Arafat, and that he afterward retired with her to Ceylon, where they continued to propagate their species. It may not be improper here to mention another tradition concerning the gigantic stature of our first parents. Actually, the word can literally be like a small bone of a finger or something. It doesn't have to be cubits, Their prophet, as they say, affirmed Adam to have been as tall as a high palm tree, but this would be too much in proportion if that were really the print of his foot, which is pretended to be such, on the top of a mountain in the Isle of Ceylon, thence named Pico de Adam, and by the Arab writers, Rahun, I'm not sure how that's pronounced, seeing those English letters. If they had a dot, then I'd know for certain. Being somewhat above 2 spans long, although others say it is 70 cubits long, and that when Adam set 1 foot here, he had the other in the sea, and too little, if Eve were of so enormous a size, as it is said, when her head lay on one hill near Mecca, her knees rested on 2 others in the plain about 2 musket shots asunder. Now, some of the narrations with gaps contain some of these things from the Bible or other legends that, there's issues, but it's not directly attributed to Muhammad. Almost everything that you hear of this nature. Page 61:1. The commentators say this was a stone which Moses brought from Mount Sinai, and the same that fled away with his garments, which he laid upon it. One day, while he washed, they add that Moses ran after the stone naked till he found himself, ere he was aware, in the midst of the people, who, on this accident, were convinced of the falsehood of a report which had been raised of the prophet, that he was bursten, or as others write, a hermaphrodite. They described it to be a square piece of white marble, shaped like a man's head, wherein they differ not much from the accounts of the European travelers, who say this rock stands among several lesser ones and 100 paces from Mount Horeb, and appears to have been loosened from the neighboring mountains, having no coherence with the others, that it is a huge mass of red granite, almost round on one side and flat on the other, 12 feet high and as many